Are you tired of feeling run down and exhausted? In our fast-paced world, we're often surrounded by toxins that impact our well-being. I provide holistic solutions designed to detoxify your body and environment. With cutting-edge AO voice scan technology, we identify the root causes of your discomfort or dis-ease, making personalized healing easier than ever. Start your transformative journey towards a healthier, toxin-free life, because at White Sands Self-Care, your well-being is our priority.
CarolLee Miles here, motivational speaker and author of a book entitled Passion, Purpose, Promise with a Song of Peace. You know, back in 1996, I was traveling in Israel when a bomb went off and actually shook the hotel windows where my tour group stayed. I came home writing prolific poetry. It all went into an 18-song CD entitled Peace. And you know what? It's all included in my book right here. You can purchase it on Amazon or www.CarolLeeMiles.com.
Well, welcome everybody back to another Mindful Monday. And I am honored and excited to introduce to you that this extraordinary woman who I have had the pleasure of knowing for over actually 18 years in the travel business, but she's so much more than that. So she's been in the travel business for over 18 years, and well, I think been in travel way longer than that, but she has dedicated her life to sharing hope, purpose, and peace around the world. CarolLee Miles is an author, a speaker, she's a world traveler, and self-proclaimed ambassador of peace. And I can tell you she has visited all 7 continents, traveled more than more than 100 countries, and she inspires audiences across the globe. CarolLee's journey was forever changed, however, by a life-altering experience in Jerusalem that sparked what she calls a song of peace. So today we're going to explore her incredible journey and her new book, Passion, Purpose, and Promise with a Song of Peace, and discover how each of us can live with greater purpose, passion, and peace. CarolLee, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Laura, for having me here. It's very exciting to be here with you after knowing you all these many years, and congratulations on all of your successes in your life. It's just awesome.
Oh,
Awesome.
thank you. It's always funny to see kind of how our paths wind up going, and you know where it winds up leading to. I think it's always different things that happen within our life that kind of inspire us, or we maybe take another path, or maybe find a higher purpose. But yeah, maybe you can tell us a little bit about that, because that's kind of what I believe what sparked a lot of this, right? Was that incident in Jerusalem?
It is indeed, Laura. I was at a point in my life, as many of us have been at certain times, where I just couldn't find any peace in my life. And miraculously, as I was preparing for a trip to the Holy Land with 2 busloads of people, I received the words to a poem entitled Peace. And that journey led me into Jerusalem, where a bomb went off and shook the hotel windows where my tour group stayed. And oh my goodness, what an experience. And as I opened my window, what I heard was a song of peace. There was a bird singing outside on a tree that looked like it could have been in my backyard. There was muted voices in various languages praying at the Western Wall. And I just, from that point on, the word peace became like embedded in my heart and soul, and remains with me today.
Yeah, so that was the 1996 now, and I know you've written a couple other books, and I know you've spent a lot of time traveling, but it's now 2026. So what
Right.
prompted you to write your new book this year?
Well, it's more of a transitional memoir, I guess you would say. Now that I'm in my 4th quarter of life, I actually put it into the context of 4 quarters of life, and I named those 4 quarters Joy, Hope, Love, and Peace, because that's the background for what went into the music, but also definitely into the book by putting it into those chapters like that.
Yeah, yeah. That's good. As I say, I think Larry's probably around too. I think I just heard heard Larry in the background.
Larry's in the background. Larry's
Yep,
in the
yep,
background.
that's
Yeah.
okay. And you mentioned the fourth quarter, but looking at you for one, you would never even know. I personally would not have known that you're like in your fourth quarter, but you're doing very, very well. So, but what makes you think of peace when you travel?
Well, I think I've learned a lot over the years of traveling with groups of people. That's been my primary focus ever since I started traveling. Gosh, so 1986 was when I first started traveling for a travel club in Denver. And being with different groups of people brings out so many different types of personalities. And you being the leader of the group, if you will, you have to kind of quell those moments of either despair or anger or excitement. There's a lot of different emotions, and when people travel, it's like they leave their brains at home. I don't know. And so they depend a lot on the person that is, responsible for the group, which happened to be me. So I found myself having to deal with those various personalities. And then as I was writing the book, I thought this is the type of life that we lead, in our everyday worlds. And of course, now with the world peace situation, if you will, the information in the book really ties in to finding that peace from within. Because after all, we all know if we can't come to a certain peace within our hearts and souls and minds, then how can we display a world of peace as it relates to our relationships, our family, our loved ones, different organizations, different people. And so I think that describes the way in which I had to find a peaceful solution to many, many, many different kinds of issues and problems in travel.
Well, and I can definitely attest to that because it just gave me that flashback. I remember back in 2015 when you had done teaching people how to be a cruise host, and I always wanted to cruise and thought this would be great. And then to see all some of the things that you had to deal with, from people getting angry or upset about like some simple things, or then this comes up, and you just always stayed so cool and calm and collected. And I'm like, I always admired you for that. But you're right. You come across different things, and you've gone even farther because you've been in multiple countries, all seven continents. There's so many different cultures, beliefs, perceptions.
Yes.
So
Yes, exactly. I mean, when you think of the difference between, oh, I don't know, Antarctica from Africa to Europe to the Holy Land, yes, you're dealing with various different types of issues and problems there, but also the joys that come behind it. And one thing that has impacted me is just seeing various people in various lights and thinking about what does peace mean to that person, that woman who's sitting in a window someplace looking out with a look of despair. But what is she looking out of? It might be a flowing of raw sewage, for example, or it might be someone quite the opposite and looking at the joyful way in which they live their life. And I came to this conclusion that I just wanted to be an ambassador of peace no matter where I was, no matter what country, no matter what the situation, just lead me to the being able to help others find that peace within their own heart and soul.
yeah, I couldn't think of a better person myself to even to do that. But and like you
Thank
said,
you.
yeah.
Thank you.
So I mean, you're a cruise host, you're a tour director. What specifically causes you to think about the world peace when you're with a group?
Well, I think the different dynamics that are going on, depending on the type of group and where you're traveling, or where you are, the environment that you're a part of. I do speak a lot on cruise ships
Hmm.
with groups of people, and that's really my love. I mean, cruising is my heart and soul. Both my husband and I, we love to cruise, and I love that kind of an environment. But um, it's it just becomes a part of you when you are so concentrated on a subject matter, I think, and just having peace as that central that central nucleus of being with people in different situations on different cruise ships or wherever in the world. We just got back from France and Portugal, and it was such a delightful sharing of different kinds of not only cultures, but seeing in France, going to Normandy and thinking about all the emotions that went on, during that time, and going there not really expecting to be so moved, but oh my goodness, we were just so moved. And then going to a completely different country of Portugal, and then being with people as you're sharing a glass of wine from the vineyards, or people who have lived there for so many years, and it just brings the experiences into life and light, if
Hmm.
you will. And I know you are so much about the healthy soul, the healthy person. I know that's who you are, and I've always admired that about you.
Thank you.
And when you incorporate peace into that, oh, you got it, girl, you got it.
Well, and yeah, I always tell people it's all encompassing, right? It's everything. Everybody wants to like, oh, just do a diet or just do this or just exercise. No, it's everything. It's lifestyle, it's surrounding, it's that peace of mind, that being in that peaceful place. Sometimes it takes changing environments, which is one of the reasons I moved to Missouri. But yeah, so out
You know,
of
that's my home state. I'm a show me girl, right?
Yep, yep, yep. I remember. Yeah, I got a kick out of that too. I didn't realize. Well, I do remember that from years ago on the seeing it on their plates in Colorado, because that's kind of where I know you from Colorado and from travel. But I remember that being on the plates, but I didn't realize how much they really kind of embrace it. There's a lot of businesses that are show me this,
Show
show
me
me
this.
this, and
Show me
show me
that.
that. Yeah. It's
I
just
get it.
everything has its own uniqueness, and but you've been in so many places, and I can, I can only imagine because, like you said, when you went to Normandy, you weren't expecting all that motions because we can watch stuff on TV or documentaries and stuff, and I would say that probably invokes one feeling, but maybe you don't expect it, but it's probably a whole different feeling when you're actually there live in the space.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hmm.
Yeah.
And I relate back to, being in Israel at that time. It was a time when there were bombs going off. They were bombing a certain bus number or something in Israel, when that happened. And yeah, when it happened, we went ahead. I mean, after I heard this song of peace and
Hmm.
it became embedded in my heart, went on and toured that day because that's their lifestyle. And as our tour guide Yossi explained at that time, this is what we're about all the time. And so we picked up, we went ahead and toured all day, and went on with our lives. And he expressed so much emotion about that. I think that emotion the words that he used in that emotion, those words went into a lot of my positive reinforcing when I was designing, if you will, poetry. I mean, I've never written, John Brown went to town, and all of a sudden these words are just coming like crazy. And ended up going into an 18-song CD. I mean, I was led to four different composers
Hmm.
from around the country, and that kind of became my mainstay. And the funny thing about it is that whole journey of making those songs and putting into that book, that became the book.
Nice. Yeah. It's amazing how things come to you and stuff. So your CD though, it's entitled you feel your CD entitled Peace Changed Lives. Can you tell us why?
Oh, absolutely, it did. You know, even though the words will be, the words will last forever. The music is the style of 1997, so the music is very different than what you might hear today. But the words reflected in the songs, that's what has been so impactful because I had people from one that was going to her mother's funeral in Iran called me and said somebody had somehow shared this with her. And a woman that I had known for various months, maybe even years, and she called me up and she had heard it. And her family had just been um, um, diagnosis had been made, you know, health wise, that she was dealing with some different stuff. And just the various comments that people made about how that impacted them. I know that the words were impactful. I say that they didn't come from me. They came from, you know,
Hmm.
God. They came from the universe. They came from wherever you draw your. I draw mine from. I say God.
Sure.
Spirituality is huge. We could talk about that forever. But I say those words came from God. They just happened to come through my pen. But I couldn't have done it, you know, had it not been for someone directing my life, that's for sure. And the same with the book, you know.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. I know a number of people. You can call it divine, spirit, God. It's whatever's good for you. But many people that were just kind of given a download and it's like this is what needs to happen. And so and I would agree anyway. Just because music's always been kind of a happy place for me. And even today, there can be songs that hit and it'll take me back to a
Oh,
memory or a time or something else. So
absolutely.
yeah, I think
Absolutely.
music definitely has that ability to leave that with people. And it's fascinating how much you can know or you don't hear something for years and then it comes on and you just recall all the words, right?
Yeah,
You haven't heard it for years, but it
memories.
comes right out. Yeah.
Yeah, the memories. Yeah, they come flashing back.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Out of
Yeah.
all your travels though, is there was can you share with us maybe some of the experiences or an experience that was very impactful for you? I mean, you've been to so many places. I'm sure there's lots to choose
Uh,
from, but
Well, I would have to say Antarctica was totally amazing, and people would say, why would you want to go there? I went there because I had a group to take, and off I went. And while I was there, you know, the penguins are so noisy. They're so noisy. And yet you have this quiet spirituality that is surrounding you. And so it just permeates your life. It permeates your soul. And I don't know, Africa comes to mind because beautiful, beautiful animals that you see that are so graceful. I was blessed to be able to do a hot air balloon ride in Africa over the you know the wilds and um, I don't know, every single experience in every single country is a little bit different,
mhm,
and yet it's a little bit the same in
right.
that it all comes back to that word peace, just peace.
Yeah. It's funny. I have to tell you because I did get an email a couple of months ago from someone that just found my travel site from Colorado, as a matter of fact, requesting information if I knew information or the best tour group for Antarctica. It's not something, it's not something that comes up often, but I couldn't help but to think of you when that came across. But yeah, because that's most people's reaction is why. You just think cold, frigid. I think penguins and polar bears, but you know.
Not polar bears.
Well,
Polar
no, it's
bears
true.
are
Okay, not polar bears, but penguins. I know penguins are definitely there, but whenever I
all
think cold and ice, that's where my mind goes. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yes, yeah. And a lot of the travels that I've done have been very fortunate in that, like Antarctica for right now, we've stopped on 3 or 4 or 5 different places And some cruise lines now don't even get off on the continent. You just go there, you know. And so the amount of travel that I have been able to do with groups have made me grow personally,
Hmm.
and especially as it relates to joy, hope, love, and peace.
Right, right. Yeah. So, and maybe many people don't know this about you, but, and maybe you can go into a little more detail, because I know you actually left a marriage of 41 years. And I would say that takes a lot of courage, but do you consider yourself brave after leaving a marriage of 41 years?
Um, at the time, I would consider the word survival because I wasn't surviving where I was. Now I would probably look back and say, yes, it took a certain amount of bravery because there were so many things that I felt like that I wasn't equipped to handle, from finances to owning a home that I put my name on the line, you know, those kinds of things that I faced. So I guess the word brave, yes. I think resilient is a good word. Um, and faith, certainly, faith is absolutely what carried me through. And I feel for anyone, you know, marriage is kind of taken more lightly in this day and age than in that day and age. And I mean, it was, you know, my mother's theme song was "Stand by Your Man," you know,
Yeah.
and you know, to think that I was going to be the one who ended up in divorce, which I mean, we tried and tried and tried.
Hmm.
It just was not happening. And I knew if I couldn't be of help to myself, I would not be able to be of help to my children or to anybody else in my life. And but it was a very, very difficult decision to make.
Yeah.
And I think we went to 5 different counselors, 3 different counselors on you know. But I mean, look at us now. I'm happily married after 12 years to Mr. Larry Love, and we're traveling all over. So what can I say? You know, things turn out, I guess, the way they're supposed to.
Yeah, you've done a lot. And I know, when you come from the older generations, that's exactly kind of what you're taught to do. But on the other hand, sometimes a mistake has been made. And if you're not happy or at peace and
Yeah.
something, then why stay stuck in something that's, no, not very peaceful or happy for you?
And that was the turmoil that was happening at the time. You know, when I went there, I was not divorced at the time, but I was going through so much turmoil and I was so searching for anything that could give me that feeling of peace. And it was funny when, you know, that bomb went off and I was never scared. I was never fearful. What I heard right in that moment was a song of peace. And that just has been powerful for the rest of my life. Just amazingly powerful.
I think it also has to do a lot with your very positive and upbeat personality, because to find those. And I think I wish more people could do that and would be that way, because that's not where people's minds normally go, when you hear a bomb and do that. So to be in that space,
Yes,
just had to be incredible.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And people didn't really understand it when we came back, you know, because you came back and you say a bomb went off and you said what I felt was peace. They're going, ah, yeah, right. You gotta have a screw loose, you
Just got
know.
to get a screw loose. Well, but I think you're a good testament too, because because of these events that happen, and because people do watch the media and the news so much, it scares the snot out of people for going anywhere, and it gives them, I think, such a bad idea of what's going on in other countries. I mean, you've never let that stop you. Like, obviously you're here. You didn't run into any, major problems, and you still enjoyed your experiences. Can you maybe talk a little bit about that?
Well, I could say I think it just made me grow as a person and as a psychology major. without the degree, because it definitely takes the patience and psychological understanding of certain types of personalities to be able to go from one extreme to the other, with the same group of people. But it also just makes you grow mentally and spiritually, and those were the strengths and the strengths, I guess, that really made me pull on all of that to be able to know, yes, I can do this. Yes, I can make it. Yes, I can buy a house.
Mhm.
Yes, I can go on and I can survive. My friend Janet had cross stitched a Bible, a piece of, covered a Bible with denim and then cross stitched on the front of it. And there were nights upon nights upon nights that I slept with that Bible just for strength. That and putting my knees on the floor and just saying, take me to another place. I really need the strength to go on in a totally different way.
Yeah.
And prayers are answered. I can attest to that. Prayers are answered.
That they are. And see, as long as I've known you, just always been that whole light and uplifting. So you would have never struck me as someone that had ever struggled with any kind of depression or PTSD or any kind of anxiety. But
I've
you,
been told that before. But believe me, it was very real, very real.
yeah. So and was that all pretty much kind of in the past or with the previous marriage, and since you've made the changes, or
Yes, it was very much in the past. I have not struggled with that since then, really.
yeah.
Uh, Took a while to get through that, but when I think that people need to understand that if they're in that space of, like the depression or whatever, there are little things that they can do ever so minutely to kind of claw your way out of that. And interestingly enough, I decided one day that I was going to clean out my dresser drawers. Something as simple as that, one drawer at a time. And if I wasn't using, I'd throw it away, and it was kind of like everything that was going on inside of me as a correlation. If that part I didn't need anymore, I would just like feel like I was just going to throw it away. And that helped me to get through that depressive state and to go on to being that cheerful, normal, happy person that I had been known for.
Yeah. So have you been able to help other people that have been experiencing that in their life?
Yes, at various conversations in the amount of time that, in groups, on the road or on the ship or whatever. And I've always enjoyed talking to older people because I think they have so much in their life and so much they've come through. And I learned a lot from the people that I traveled with as a younger person, and now I'm learning a lot from the younger people who I'm traveling with as at the other end of the scale in that fourth quarter. And I have to say, the fourth quarter is just awesome. I mean, just awesome. Larry and I still love to dance. That's how we met. That's how we, started our relationship. And um, it's just God is. That's all I can say. God is good if you just lean on Him, and you can get past those days of just being so upside down. You don't think you'll ever right yourself again, and then eventually you do. And I love helping other people to find that peace that in their soul.
Oh, that I know you do. But so many people, they search for that purpose throughout their lives. At what point did you realize that your purpose was bigger than travel and speaking and that it was connected to sharing a message with the world?
Um, I would say through the words and the music that was given to me, that ended up being poetry. And keep in mind, I published a CD. I don't sing and I don't play an instrument, and there is a condition now. I did learn that there is a phenomenon, if you will call it, that all of a sudden words start coming to you like that.
Hmm.
And as I sorted those out, and as I was doing the words for the music, I wanted to hit the elements of the universe. So air, earth, space, fire, water, and to use those in the formulation of the poems that were coming to me. I think that's what made the music so inspirational to people, was through those words. And certainly, I mean, I was just receiving it. I had a tiny little tape recorder, and I would go and walk and walk and walk and just record all these words that were coming. And then they just fell into place because I was led to four different people. And in my book, even talk about I spent the night with Willie Nelson's daughter
Oh,
as
wow.
a
Okay.
result of this. At least that's who she said she was. That wasn't a time when you could Google and find out
Right.
more about this person and everything. But she was delightful, and I woke up. I woke up the next morning to the picture of Willie and his bandana, on the wall, and I think, God, wow, this is just amazing. So the experiences that came through the whole journey have just been um, life changing, just life changing.
Yeah, that's such an incredible journey that you've had. But your new book, so your passion, purpose, promise with a song of peace. It has a powerful title. What do the words passion, power, and promise mean to you personally, and how do they connect to your life's journey?
Well, I think the word passion in itself, if you're struggling to get through a situation or a period in your life or whatever, if you can look into your soul, heart, and soul, and think about what is your passion. What are you passionate about? What are you passionate to be able to share with people? And with me, it's been words and writing. And someone told me when I was going through that period, if I would write things that I was thinking, it would come out differently on paper. And sure enough, it did. And so, passion, you start with the passion. And eventually, when you concentrate on that, you actually find a purpose. And when you find that purpose, and mine, continued to revolve around the word peace, and I even named myself an ambassador of peace, I mean, why not?
Why not?
But I would love for everybody to be able to say, I am an ambassador of peace because I found peace in my soul. I would love for that to happen. And so, that became the purpose. And then the promise is that I like to give to anyone who reads the work. I would like for them to know that it is possible, that it is a promise uh, from the universe that if you continue to go toward your goals, toward the ways that are impacting your life positively, if you continue to do that, you can make a promise to yourself. You can make a promise to the world to become that ambassador of peace, to feel the peace. And so, passion, purpose, promise, and of course, with the Song of Peace, I actually just took the CD and embedded it into the book, and so that turned out to be a turning point in the book as well as in my own life.
Yeah. I always love that. And I like that. It's like you don't need anyone else to label you. You are an ambassador of peace. Like you said, you have worked hard, you have found that peace. You're entitled to that. Absolutely
I'll take
entitled to
it.
that.
I'll take it. Anybody who wants to call me the ambassador of peace, even though I named myself.
I'll be happy to call you one. Not a problem.
Okay. All right. Okay. Together, Laura. Because
Absolutely.
together we can always do more as two rather than just one.
Well, those are my mottos. We can always do more together. And like I always tell people, when you have found your passion or person, you can tell because people light up. When you go around other places and you see people like they're just hating life and they're hating being there. And I hate
Yeah.
to see them that way, but they just haven't figured out a better path yet, or their passion. But
It was once described to me that life is like a math problem. And if you start doing math, two and two is four, and then you go to division, and you go to, more mechanically the mechanics of
mhm,
math. And in our minds and in our heart and in our soul, if we don't grow within ourselves in that same dynamics, then you will be kind of stuck in a place and never, sometimes people I don't think ever realize that they're stuck in that negative, awful place. It's just, it becomes a part of who they are. And that makes my heart hurt. It really makes my heart and soul hurt. And
yeah.
you've seen them, Laura. You know what I'm talking about.
You and me both, when they just feel like, oh, this is my life, and they've just resigned to that, this is my life, and they just feel stuck, or they've just gone into acceptance, and it's like, no, you can change that.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And you do a great job of that, Laura.
Oh,
You're such a positive influence to your audience, and I feel honored just to be here with you today. I really do.
thank you. I appreciate it. So I got to ask you, so after traveling the world and meeting people from countless cultures and backgrounds, what common human need or desire have you discovered that connects all of us?
Hmm. Well, a longing for belonging, I think, runs very deep. I actually think there are a lot of people out there that are just searching for joy, for hope.
Hmm.
And the more we turn on the TV every evening and listen to the our culture and all the bad stuff that's going on, you don't have to turn the TV on. You don't have to be that person that gets so stuck there. And when you can concentrate on different kinds of words, let's just say words, joy, hope, love, peace, when you can concentrate on those words instead and try to think about how you personally can make a difference in the world. What's your purpose? What's your promise? What's your passion? And what are you going to do with it? Most of all, what are you going to do with it? I feel like that God called me for a reason. I
Hmm.
feel like that I was called spiritually, if you will, to be in Israel at that particular time. I feel like that God called me to, I couldn't stop until I finished the book. I feel like I had to continue, and that has been, I have two daughters, as I told them, I feel like that is my purpose on this earth, is to spread um, that peace. Spread the peace.
Yeah.
Become an ambassador of peace. Yourself. You are.
Yeah, you
Now
don't have
we
to
have
wait.
two
You don't
of
have to
us.
wait for someone to title you, right? Just do it and give yourself the
Just do
title.
it. Just do it.
Yeah. Well, people get too hung up on titles and labels anyway, but like I said,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So, what does true peace look like to you?
Uh, the feeling of being able to change when a dastardly word comes into your life. I give the example of pulling up to a stop sign, and what's running through your mind? Oh gosh, I left too late. Oh gosh, I'm going to be late for the next meeting. Oh goodness, and you all of a sudden you feel yourself being caught up in this turmoil. And when you are able to just say stop and think about the word peace, it just quiets your soul, it quiets your spirit, it quiets your being. It gives you a totally different, it's not going to make a difference in the outcome because you're not going to get there any quicker
Right.
than you were in the turmoil. And so why be in the turmoil? Take yourself out of that and put yourself in a peaceful state.
Yeah, I love that. I always tell people it's like it's whatever you put your mind to. You can call it law of attraction. I know you and I are familiar with the secret and law of attraction, but when
Absolutely.
you put that energy, those thoughts out there, it's what you're going to get. So
Yeah,
yeah, but so your book isn't just about your story. It's also an invitation for readers to reflect on their own lives. What do,
absolutely.
what do you
Yeah.
hope readers will discover about themselves after reading Passion, Purse, Promise with a Song of Peace?
Um, I would love for them to have a new beginning, to have a new um, feeling, a new concept that becomes deeply embedded in them that I can do this. Can. I can, even though my child was called before me, I can go on. I can't look at the positive that I've had with my child before that. Being diagnosed with a specific kind of disease that you all of a sudden encompasses your mind, but you can still go on. Might be a little different in a little different way and a little different light, but to struggle and get to the light that is helping you to embrace the situation and come out as best as you can come out. And to be able to look in the mirror and be able to say, I am filled with joy, with hope, with love, and with peace. And I would want every single reader to just feel that when they're finished. And
Nice.
maybe find a new purpose in their own life because they hadn't thought about that before, to to think about their own passions and to be able to bring that forth, because we're all put on this earth for a reason. I guess we're all here, we all struggle,
Yeah.
we all have good times, we all have bad times, and we're still going to be here, for our time, whatever our time is. And I just want the rest of my years on this earth to be able to bring positive stuff to people all over the world, just to continue to bring positive stuff to
Yeah.
everyone.
No, I love it. Yeah. So if someone does feel stuck, though, or discouraged or unsure of their purpose right now, what lessons from your journey would you share to help them take their next step forward?
I would definitely consider writing. Like I said, when you're thinking something in your mind or even speaking it out loud, when you write it down, it may come out sounding a little different when you're reading it back to yourself. So as you go through that cycle or process of doing that, then to be able to come out with a more positive way to look at a possible constructive outcome, then I think that will help human nature be able to deal with the news of today, or what's going on, and in their own life. And as long as I can be an example, after, divorce after 41 years, I hate the word divorce. I hate the word divorcee. Well, I mean, I hate the concept even. But, it is, I learned a lot. Hopefully he did too. We're very close to our children, and I would like to look at all the good stuff that came, from that marriage. I have two beautiful daughters. We do, and we're very compatible, and talking and being able to, be together and all that. Um, but always look for the positive instead of looking for the negative. Always, always, always look for the positive. There's Look for the glass to be half full.
I'm
Not
like you. I'm like you. For one, I don't even watch the news and stuff anymore. I know people that will
Oh,
record it. So in case, my God, in case we miss something, I'm like,
oh,
you
yeah.
need to be informed of what's going on, but you just don't need it in your face all the time. But I wish they had more of a balance, more, because there's lots of good that goes in the world, but you really don't hear about it unless someone's made it into some kind of a show or a documentary. But it's not on the news. It's always all the negative stuff. So yeah, I'm with you there. And
Exactly.
I for one, yeah, I so do not like labels, the stereotypes or stuff anymore. It's like,
Yeah,
let's get rid of those and treat people like the decent human beings that they are. And you
absolutely.
don't have to like them, you don't have to agree with them, but you don't got to be nasty either.
That's right. That's right. And they can be in your presence, and you can be together, and you can be, you can be civil to one another. You don't have to carry just a block on your shoulder that you're just waiting to knock off so that you can, go off on some other tangent. Life can be so much simpler if we just look at the bright side, the bright.
Yeah. Well, if the world could embrace one lesson from your passion, purpose, and promise with a song of peace today, what ripple effect do you believe it would create for future generations?
I can do it. I can do it. I can see it out there, and I can move toward that goal for every day for the rest of my life. I can see it, I can do it, I can be it, I can live it.
Yeah. Awesome. Now, I have your website up, CarolLeeMiles.com. Is that one of the best places for them to get your book? Because I would say, if nothing else, if people that are stuck, start with Carol Lee's book and her songs, right? And the CDs.
There you go. There you go. Yes, that's great. I can. My email address is CLMPEACE as it relates to the book. 2 CLMPeace 12 at gmail.com. Many already know me by CLMPeace 01 at Gmail. Both of them are at Gmail. So anybody can feel free. If you, I would love to hear stories. I would love to hear, just like the music did for people, I would love to hear back from the people who have actually read the book and said, this made a difference in my life. I just spoke to a group right here in my community, and this one lady came up and she said, you know what? You should really consider doing motivational speaking. And I go, oh, well, thank you. Maybe I will consider that. I mean, that's what I do, motivational speaking.
Motivational speaking. And yeah, yep. Perfect
Yeah.
person to do it, too. Yeah. And I'm sure
Yeah.
you're not done traveling either.
Oh no, oh
Yeah.
no, no. We
Yeah.
just got back from California for a grand's graduation, one grand's graduation. So we have one more grand in college, and now we're very excited to have two great grands in Florida. So we get to see them as often as possible too. And life is full of wonderful memories, and that's what I want to concentrate on for the rest of my life. Is all the great memories.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to share? We still got 6 minutes. So you have your book with you too, so you can show them what it looks like, right?
Uh,
Yeah, there you go. Whoop, bring her over. There you go.
There you go. There you go. That's what it looks
And
like.
I love the color. I always love sunsets and sunrises. I think it's a beautiful color.
Uh, and then the PCD, the story of the PCD, it just went right in the book. So it's all a part of the story anyway of writing the songs and everything. And I would like to say that my Lori Love has just been such a positive influence on my life, and we just have so much fun together. People said it would never work, and including my own friends, including my family, that it would never work. And here we are, 12 and a half years. And when you can find someone that is so enmeshed in helping each other and living a life of true togetherness. I highly recommend that. I highly recommend it. And otherwise, faith is number one, family's number two, job or whatever is number three. But I would really, really, really embrace being on Crystal Cruise Line again. To be on Crystal with my book. I would embrace Princess Cruises. We love to travel. We love to cruise. And that seems to be the place where you can spend quality time with people, learn their story, learn how you can help them best, and really turn your passion and purpose into a promise that will help the world become a better place.
Will you be doing a book tour with your book?
I probably will at some point. We've been traveling so much but we hope to be able to do that in the future. I'm not quite sure when or how that will be set up, but yes, 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 and yes.
I don't know if they normally do them on cruises, but if they don't, I'm pretty sure you're the lady to do it. You're the first one. I'm pretty sure that could get that done. As familiar with cruises as you are, and multiple cruise lines.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we've been very spoiled in that respect and have been able to use those as a part of the journey and to be able to help other people, I think, which is what better thing to be able to leave this earth. I know I was able to help other people.
Yeah, and I've had the pleasure of meeting Larry too, and I was just like, wonderful couple, fantastic couple, and yeah, I'm with you right there because everybody always has opinions, right? We know everyone has an opinion, but you got to listen to yourself and what's in here, which is what you did, and look at you now. I mean,
Yeah,
that's just living proof.
yeah,
You're the one that knows what's best for you, not everybody else.
that's correct. That's correct. And I always said God is good, and as long as we continue to get our answers from a source that is more powerful than us. I mean, I say God, but the spirituality is out there. When we can look at those elements of the universe and be able to incorporate those into our everyday life in a positive fashion, what more could you ask for in a lifetime on this earth?
Absolutely. It's been such a pleasure. I was so glad when you had reached out and we got to like reconnect because it's been a while. And you and I obviously always have our same love for the
Yes.
blues. Not that I was planned. I know you're always in blue, but so am I. And I just for me, it's like I guess it's just the energy and the peace and the calm because I think of water, and I love water.
Well,
So
there you go. Cruising's it.
yep,
Cruising, I tell you.
definitely. What would you like to leave our audience with? Any last thoughts or gold or little nuggets that you want to leave them with today?
I just like to say that wherever you are in your life, you deserve to be the best person that you are put on this earth to be. And it is possible. It is possible no matter what situation you're in. Perseverance, faith, action, passion, purpose, and promise. Make sure it's a part of your life and go from there. Go out and save souls.
Absolutely. You just light up. I'm so happy that you were able to do this and put that out in a book and get it out. And it's been a long time in the making. So,
Well, thank you, Laura.
yeah.
And thank you again for having me here because, yeah, just the thought of us getting back together again in this way when you've gone off in different directions and I've gone off in different directions and then to come back, it's been a real joy. It's been a real joy.
Oh, I
So,
still have my travel. I'll be back on a cruise and stuff soon. But when life throws different things at you, that you just got to go a different way for a little bit. But I will be back
that's
on the
okay.
cruises.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'll probably see you there.
Oh yeah. I bet you. I'll be finding out wherever you're going next, and we'll reconnect. So
Okay. All right. Sounds
never
good.
never
That
too
sounds good,
late.
Laura.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I am so glad you did decide to write that book and the CD and put that out in the world. We need more people, like more ambassadors of peace,
There
like
you
you,
go.
and to bring that together. So thank you very much for being here.
And everyone, just start looking in the mirror and saying, I am ambassador of peace.
Love it. I am an ambassador of peace, and
There
so
you
are
go.
you.
You got it, Lord.
Everybody, have a wonderful Monday. We will see you all next week. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.